I'd like to start by reading a quote from a hearing this committee had a couple of years ago on April 8th, 2015. And the quote is, our climate is changing, and this poses a serious threat to our environment, public health, and ultimately our way of life. Of course, how quickly and severely this threat impacts us largely depends on how quickly and aggressively we meet the challenge. Over the next few decades, significant reductions in GHG emissions will be necessary to avoid the worst consequences of climate change. Mitigation efforts will touch nearly every aspect of California's infrastructure, planning, and investment. Now, that was my opening statement to that hearing back in 2015, which focused presciently at that time on our changing weather patterns, particularly in the western United States as a result of climate change. The hearing followed a NASA study that was released just a few months earlier and that predicted extreme weather patterns and cautioned that extreme drought for the region in the decades ahead would become the norm. After 5 years of drought now, last year gave us an abundance of snow in what felt like a replenishment of our water supplies. But as we sit here on February 21st, we are again experiencing record low snowpack and rainfall, and we're left contemplating another long drought period, just as NASA predicted those several years ago. And in that April 8th hearing, we also learned of projections by the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory that snow water in California will decline by 16% over the next 20 years, 34% by 2070, and an astounding 41% by the end of the century. 41%, folks. The Sacramento and San Joaquin rivers, the heart of our water delivery system, could see a 10 to 15% increase in water flows by 2070 in the months from December to March as rainfall replaces snowfall. As a result, there could be a 30% decrease in water flows from April to July, as there will no longer be snowpack melting to provide water in those summer months. Weather modeling shown at that time detailed this to be the same for many other river systems throughout the Pacific Northwest and Southwest. Well, today we're going to get an update on this modeling from our very troubling modeling from our climate experts. The information hearing today will focus on the wildfires in 2017 as well, the recovery efforts that are now underway, and what this all means for our future. We've been talking about record-breaking fires and an unusually long fire system every year in this subcommittee for some time now. In fact, 8 of the state's most destructive wildfires occurred in the last 5 years. The fires last year burned into December, which is historically outside of our fire season. But suffices to say, the extreme and changing weather patterns are contributing, if not directly causing, the devastating wildfires that we have witnessed over the last few years. From Yosemite in 2013 to Lake County in 2016, and more recently the fires that ravaged the communities of Napa, Sonoma, Santa Barbara, and Ventura counties, we are unfortunately facing a new reality. No doubt our changing climate has something to do with this. Our poor forest management practices further exacerbate the situation, and decades of fire suppression have caused forest lands to get too dense, making them more susceptible to large and devastating wildfires. The impacts of these fires are widespread and affect a multitude of areas. I think it's tempting to talk about all of this today, but time is a constraint. The hearing today is going to be really a primer, I think, for what will be many discussions to follow, and this subject deserves many discussions.